Warm welcome to all the participants who have logged in into this webinar. It is said that economy and environment are the two faces of the same coin. If economy is not sustainable, then we cannot survive on this earth. Extending a very hearty welcome to all the participants who have logged in on the second day of this national webinar on sustainable environment in COVID-19. We start the program now. I also extend a hearty welcome to the principal who is at the helm of all the educational academic activities at Government First Grade College, Hoskote, Dr. Muninarayanappa, and the organizing team, the HOD of Environment Science Studies, Dr. Harish, IQAC coordinator, and all the teachers of Government First Grade College, Hoskote. I am Prasanna Udpikar, Associate Professor from the Department of English. Before we start the program, I would like to remind you that as today is the last day of this 2 days webinar on sustainable environment in COVID-19, you would have a lot of questions, suggestions, opinions, even advices, etc. As all of your audios are muted by the technicians from the central unit, I would request you to type your questions, suggestions, advices in the chat box, which we would be taking up after the resource person's talk is over during the interactive session. We have got today 2 speakers with us. The first speaker is Dr. Gopal Singh. Dr. Professor B. Gopal Singh from Mysore, who has MA, PhD, LLB, MBA degrees to his credit. Dr. B. Gopal Singh has got a very rich experience as a teacher. He has got 42 years of teaching experience. He has been a resource person to Total Quality Management, Staff Academic College Bangalore, Staff Academic College Mysore, and even he has been a resource person to Government of India New Education Policy. He has been a guide at Bangalore University in the Department of Economics. 6 students have done MPhil, 1 student has done PhD under his guidance. He has been co-guide for 6 PhD students and more MPhil students. He is also a guide not just in Mysore and Bangalore universities, but also in Bihar and Ara universities. He has published 30 research articles in research journals and 40 articles in newspapers. He is a member of Indian Economic Association, Indian Society of Labor Economics, Indian Society of Agriculture Economics. He is a member of Board of Studies, UOM Mysore, Chairman BOE in Economics at Mysore University. Sir has attended 3 international conferences, 25 national level conferences, 15 state level conferences, 20 workshops, 30 seminars, 10 symposium, 6 refresher courses, 4 orientation courses. And what more can we expect from such a rich, experienced teacher? He has been a facilitator to human resource development and total quality management. He has trained 2,000 engineering college students, trained 80 engineering college faculty members. He has trained 200 first grade college teachers also. Dr. Professor B. Gopal Singh had the privilege of interacting with Nobel laureate Professor Amartya Sen. He has also interacted with the Professor Kenneth J. Arrow, Professor Skulls, Professor Manmohan Singh, Professor Brahmananda, Professor M.S. Swaminathan, Professor Raja Challayya, Professor V.K.R.V. Rao, Malcolm Adisheshaya, C. Rangarajan, Dr. Y.V. Reddy, Dr. Nanjundappa, and hosts of economists. Sir is also a resource person in training for IAS candidates, SLET, NET, KPSC, training classes, IDS, MGM, Mysore coursework in research methodology. Sir has also visited Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Nepal, Arab countries, including Dubai, China, and Europe. So it is our privilege and a great honor that Dr. Professor B. Gopal Singh has agreed to address all the participants and to be with us in spite of his busy schedule and to speak on sustainable environment in COVID-19. Sir, hearty welcome to you to this national-wide webinar. Am I audible to you, sir? Unmute, sir. Dr. Professor Gopal.
Yes.
Yes. So over to the resource person, Dr. Professor Gopal. Yes.
Good morning to everybody.
Sir, we will share the screen now.
No, madam. I will just go directly.
You can go directly, but you can put your PPT there.
No, not it. Yeah, if necessary, I will just put it. I will just switch it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Good morning to everybody. I am very happy that one of the government colleges is able to organize such a fantastic webinar on this pandemic COVID-19. I have been invited by Chalapati and the principal of Hoskote Government College to just have a discussion with all the participants here. Today's topic, which I am going to put forward before you, is about the sustainable development with particular reference to environmental sustainability. Let me first start with the statement, what exactly is sustainable development? Sustainable development is that development which meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own demand. This exactly tells us, let live and let live. You should also live at present, and you should also allow the future generations to live happily. In this background of this statement of sustainable development, live and let live, let me just recall a Sanskrit word which says that dharma rakshiti rakshitaha. We have to substitute this word dharma rakshiti rakshitaha to parisara rakshiti rakshitaha. If you protect the environment will protect you. Why all these problems? Why all these discussions? Why the world is facing many problems? Is it due to the environmental unsustainability, or is it due to this man-made various problems that created by human beings themselves? See, if you see the population of the world, the total population of the world is 770 crore population. Out of this 770 crore population in the world, 138 crore population is in India and 143 crore population is in China. So, out of 210 countries, out of 770 crore population, 138 crore population in India and 143 crore population in China. Everybody is blaming China. Everybody is looking with a hope towards India. And we constitute 1/5 of the total population of the world. The population, we say, is increasing at a rapid speed. And we know that population has an effect on this environment. Population increase leads to high level consumption and it leads to high level industrialization. Not only that, the uncontrolled population growth leads to inequality in wealth and land distribution. Inappropriate government policies that leads to poverty and also inefficient technology, and this will lead to the decline in environment. Many of the population in the world, they live in poor countries already strained by food insecurity, inadequate sanitation, water supply and housing problem, and inability to meet the basic needs of the current population. So what I started the statement that sustainable development is that development which meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own demands. In this background, clearly one of the challenges of growing population is that the mere presence of so many people sharing a limited number of resources that will strain the environment, that will put more pressure on the environment. There are many arguments for and against with regard to this, the use of the resources. There are pessimists, there are optimists. Pessimists say that the doomsday is very close to us. Optimists say, no, that is not the case. Today's technology is able to face all these problems. We are able to sustain. These are the two sides of the argument. One is the pessimistic argument, other is the optimistic argument. You can ask me, where do I stand? Let me clarify my viewpoint here. If you just go back to the long back arguments about the economy and also the economic development. 1766 to 1834, there was an economist by name T.R. Malthus, who gave a very famous population theory, where he says that the growth of population increases at a greater speed than that of an increase in the food production. So Malthus, T.R. Malthus and his father Daniel Malthus, they are from England. Both of them, they used to go walk outside their town. They used to see a big tree outside the town. In the big tree, there were plenty of bats. There were plenty of bats, but the bats were plenty, but the fruits were very less. And after 2-3 months, they saw that the number of bats have come down and gradually the fruits started ripening and growing. That made T.R. Malthus and his father Malthus to give a theory of what is called as the theory of population. What did he say? T.R. Malthus said that the dining table of the nature is limited. Those who come to the dining table, they have to starve. That was the pessimistic attitude given by T.R. Malthus. Apart from that, we also know that Daniel H. Meadows, and they have given a group of people, they have given a theory which is called as the carrying capacity. What is the actual carrying capacity of the world? I told you now it is 770 crore population. What is the example they give is this: the earth can carry up to 900 crore population. In that sense, we can say the doomsday has not come. It is only our imagination. We are unable to tap whatever resources we have. We are unable to economize. We are unable to use our resources in a proper way. Please remember Garrett Hardin. Where did he say about the tragedy of commons? What is this tragedy of commons? Common property, which has to be shared among the people, is overused and it is misused. And this overuse and misuse of the common property resources, which has to be shared among the common people, because of the selfish nature of the human beings, the common people have to suffer. That is called as the tragedy of commons, given by Garrett Hardin. So in this background, if you just take into consideration whether there is a limit to growth, as I said, the pessimists say that by 2100, everything will come to a halt. We will not be able to take sufficient food for ourselves. And many people say this pandemic, 2019, COVID-19, is actually coming indication of the doomsday. I don't agree with this point. These kind of natural happenings will be happening often, but one should know how to eradicate these problems. With regard to this limit to growth, what this theory says is that the growth curve will just do fall in the growth curve, that there will not be any economic development. The growth will be limited. That's what they say. The theory also says, limit to growth theory also says, resources are declining, population is increasing, pollution level is also increasing. So this theory has been attributed to the limit to growth theory. But I say that limit to growth theory cannot be accepted, mainly because the limit to growth theory says that the resources are static. The resources are static in nature. They call it as the static reserve index. But we know that resources are increasing at a greater speed. We should know how to use these resources. We should know how to exploit these resources. But we should be very careful with regard to the use of resources. If you go on using the resources at a very great speed, the use of that resources will increase. The economic development with regard to that production will increase, but the other sectors will decrease. I will give one example which happened in the Netherlands in 1977. And this incident is that in the Netherlands, they are able to find out many gas fields. And through this gas production, they are able to extract more and more gas, cooking gas, and also the gas used for the motor vehicles. They gave much importance to the production of this gas in Netherlands. But what happened? Due to the increase in the extraction of the gas, this gas industry increased, whereas the manufacturing industry and also agriculture has come down. This disease is called as the Dutch disease. Why it is called as the Dutch disease? If you increase the use of one resource continuously, the other types of resources you will not be able to use properly. So this has been proven in many countries. Why I am telling this point is this. In the light of this sustainable development, if India is going at a faster rate with the use of what is called as the service sector, are we neglecting the agricultural sector? Are we neglecting this manufacturing sector? We have to strike a balance in all these sectors: agricultural sector, industrial sector, and service sector. So the limit to growth theory, which is based upon the theory of what is called as the Dutch disease, cannot be accepted today, because countries are able to maintain the balance. They are able to maintain the environmental balance. Number two, the limit to growth theory says that the technical development will be obsolete. But we should know that today the technical development is so high that we are able to exploit most of the unseen and unknown, unearthed resources. So in that way, that we cannot accept the theory of limit to growth. My dear friends and my dear students, what I mean to say here is that the limit for carrying capacity of the earth has not come. The doomsday has not come. Still, there are good hope, not only to the world, but also to the India. Often I use it to say, if we maintain an environmental balance, if we have got sustainable development in the background, what I am speaking here, in future, within 5 or 6 years, there will be two superpowers in the world. One is China, other will be India. No doubt, the economic growth has come down because of this COVID-19 pandemic. The growth rate, which was supposed to be more than 7.5%, is only 1.9% in India. So we know there are hopes. Man lives on hopes. He need not be having dissatisfaction. There is no necessity of pessimism. There is no need to follow the principles of Malthusian theory of principle of population we need not accept. Tragedy of commons we need not accept. I am putting all these points in front of you mainly because you can put forward your arguments and you can also have discussion with me. The next point of this limit to growth is with regard to the food production. They say due to the increase in the population and the food production will decrease, but this is not happening. We find that in the world today, no country except in a few areas of Africa, people are dying without the food. People are not dying without the food. There is no shortage of food. And apart from this, the pollution level, they say, it is increasing at a greater rate. Please remember the Nobel Prize winner in economics, Simon Kuznets. Simon Kuznets, he has given a statement and he got Nobel Prize for this also. What his statement is that in the initial stages of economic development, all countries have to face the problems, particularly the different types of pollution. The pollution level increases at the initial stages of economic development. As economic development takes place, the pollution level decreases. The curve goes like this. As economic development goes like this, the pollution level decreases because most of the advanced countries, developed countries, highly developed countries, they are able to follow a very good technology through which they are able to control the pollution level. So in that sense, the limit to growth theory says that we should have the zero growth. We should not exploit the land too much. And we should not have this much of industrialization. These arguments does not hold good today. Yesterday, when Suresh Hublikar was speaking, he was telling about the book, The Small is Beautiful. Definitely, the Schumacher's book, The Small is Beautiful, is most acceptable point where the progress is possible only through this micro, small, and medium enterprises. Mahatma Gandhi ji also said that if India wants to grow, it is only through these micro industries, cottage industries, and home industries. What I mean to say here, this refers to what is called as the sustainable production. When we speak about the sustainable development, we have to take it in a broader sense. What I mean to say here, though I am telling here about this sustainable environment, we should also see in a broader view the sustainable development. What is sustainable development? It also includes the sustainable education, education for all without any discrimination, and sustainable health, health for all, health for everybody, sustainable culture, and sustainable economy, and sustainable technology. What type of technology we have to use? Are we going at a very faster rate in implementing the technological changes? Whether we should have the higher level of technology or lower level technology, because I was telling about this small scale industries development. We have to have the intermediate technology. Okay, we use JCB. JCBs are used in Japan mainly because the number of population or the number of people or the workers are very less. But today we see that we have got plenty of laborers, particularly the migrant laborers, 4 crore migrant laborers. They don't have any work at present because of the COVID-19 problem. They have gone back to their places. We have to revive our industry. What is the sustainable methodology to have this sustainable production? Don't use the high level technology. We speak always about the artificial intelligence. We speak about this machine learning. We speak about the nano technology and nano production. But we should have, I'm not telling about the limit to growth. I'm not telling that you should not produce more. What I mean to say here is that instead of using high level technology, we have to go for this intermediate technology. So the sustainability also includes what is called as the sustainable distribution and also the sustainable political atmosphere. So these are the factors in a broad way we take into consideration when we speak about the sustainable development. No doubt, we have got plenty of environmental problems like the land degradation. It's happening mainly because of the natural factors, because of the man-made factors, land degradation is happening. And because of this, there is a soil erosion also. So I did my PhD on the wasteland development. In my study, we show that 13% of the say land is a wasteland. What is a wasteland? Which is not put into active use is called as the wasteland. So how to use the land use planning? How much is for this various types of the water bodies? How much for the construction activity? How much for agricultural activity? Do you know that only 48% of the land in India is used for agriculture? 58% of the land in India is used for the non-agricultural purpose. This is unsustainable use of the land. So we should have what is called as the land planning. We call it as the land use planning. So we always speak that there is the deforestation. So people say that the environmental degradation is happening through this deforestation. And because of this deforestation, which should have been at least 33% of the total land area, it is 22% or less than 22% in many places, and some of the countries less than 11%, and some of these countries in Africa, it is more than 30, 32 or 35% the forest area. So the deforestation is also one of the reasons for this imbalanced or unsustainable growth. So the effluents left into the river is another cause of this environmental unsustainability. Nuclear waste is also there. Hospital waste is also there. We know the use of plastic and electronic waste, burning of the tire, burning of the waste. So that will spoil the nutrients in the soil. So too much of the chemical use. We know what happened in Coimbatore last month when there was the explosion of a chemical factory. The poisonous gas came out. We did not forget what has happened in Gopal tragedy and in Nanjangud also. So likewise, we should be able to see how we can go at a faster development, how we can grow. Is it with this modern, ultra-modern technology, or is it with this the low-level technology? I always used to say it should be with the intermediate technology. So in this background, we should take into consideration the various aspects that has been put forward by the various world organizations. So particularly when we just speak about the world organizations, United Nations. United Nations has taken initiative to have the sustainable development, including the environmental sustainability. So the term sustainable development is popularized by the World Commission on Environmental Development, which has been given its report in 1987. And the report's name is called as the Our Common Future. So that report has been given by a person known as the Brent Land. It's called as the Brent Land Commission. The first definition in the initial, in the starting of my lecture, which I gave, is the definition given by this the United Nations organization with this 1987 report, which is called the Our Common Future, given by the Brundtland Commission. Let me repeat once again the statement with regard to this report, that is, what is sustainable development? Sustainable development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own demand. So in that background, it is to re-examine the critical environmental and development issues and to formulate realistic proposals for dealing with them. That is the purpose of appointing this Brundtland Commission. It is to propose the new forms of international cooperation on these issues that will influence policies and events in the direction which needs the change. To raise the levels of understanding and commitment to allocation of various resources to the individuals and incorporating various voluntary organizations, business people, institutions, and governments towards sustainable development. The Brundtland Commission report, in its Our Common Future, has highlighted the relationship between the population and human resources. As I said that, to some extent, it may be true that there is a tragedy of commons, but as population increases, the resources available will decrease. Population should be taken into as the positive human resource. So we should try to see that the skill development takes place. What type of skill that we have to give? Is it in the form of artificial intelligence, or is it in the form of this machine learning, or it is in the form of development of the skills of the human beings? I told you in Japan, the laborers are very less, they use the JCB. In India, we need not use such a high level technology. We have to use the moderate technology or intermediate technology. In that sense, we have to establish the relationship between the population and the human resource, because India at present has got highest number of working population. In that sense, I said that within 5 or 6 years, that these two countries, China and India, will be able to become superpowers if they are able to exploit, if they are able to use properly the available labor in our country. Industry. Most of the air pollution and water pollution is because of the industrial effluents. And this industry, how it should grow. China is not giving much importance to the service sector. It's giving importance to the manufacturing sector. That's why in India also last 2-3 years back, since 5 years, we are making a proposal for what is called as Make in India. The purpose of Make in India is to see that we should be able to increase the contribution of the what is called the manufacturing sector. Please remember, I said that there should be a balanced development of the service sector, the agricultural sector, and also the manufacturing sector. So industrial structure should be such that we should be able to use our natural resources and the raw materials without making any waste. And thus, we should be able to have the increase in the manufacturing sector also. My dear friends and participants, why I am telling that we are giving too much importance to service sector is that service sector is increasing at a very, very high speed. I don't know that like this Rome, it was developing at a faster speed, and once for all, the Rome collapsed. I am afraid that some of this, what is called as this ITES, information technology enabled services, IT industry. Just imagine, in case if it collapses, what will be the condition of India? I don't wish for that. But in case, because the world is changing, the demands are changing. Most of the companies, they say they are shifting from China. 1,000 companies, they are shifting from China and they are coming towards India. Why? Mainly because people are hoping that India will be the only destination where we will be able to follow the principles of Gandhiji. We should be able to follow what is called as this intermediate technology. As far as this another concept in this our common future, in the sustainable development, is the food security. 2013, we have passed a legislation telling that we have got food security. Nobody should suffer from lack of nutrients. They should be able to get required minimum of calorie, not only to the person, but also to the members of the family. In that way, I said that the food security constitute one of the aspects of sustainable development, where we have to see how we have to make the use of land. Are we going towards the use of the highly sophisticated chemical fertilizers? Are we using this natural farming? That also we should take into consideration. No doubt, the technology should be used for the production. I said high-level technology is not necessary, but here, for your information, you can argue and you can take this point also. Nanotechnology they are using in industry. Nanotechnology, if you make a bumper of the car, if some vehicle come and hits the car, nothing can happen to the bumper, mainly because it is made out of the nanomaterials. Do you know that the research is also going on with regard to this nano production scale? Nano production scale means if you introduce the nanotechnology into the soil, it is possible that you need not have much of these fertilizers. You need not have the chemical fertilizers if you use the nanotechnology. So the entire process of production, what we call it as the land, labor, capital organization, is going to change if you are going to use the nanotechnology. So nanotechnology may be a high-level technology, but the way how we are using it is very, very important. Nanotechnology example, I can say that how sustainably it can be used. With regard to this insulin taken by the sugar patients, they have to take the injection to maintain the balance of the sugar in their body. But if you just take a chip which has got the insulin, which will be able to provide you continuously on time for nearly 5 years, how about this medical revolution? So this kind of the technology, which is neither going to hurt the individuals nor going to hurt the environment, we have to follow. Another thing is that with regard to the use of energy, what type of energy we are using, nuclear energy we are using. I will give you another example of nanotechnology where we'll have sustainable development and sustainable what is called as this energy. See, we use the solar power. For that, we have got plenty of panels put on the top of the house. And with regard to these panels, there is an argument between India and America that it is their technology. We have to pay royalty to them, and they have filed a case in WTO. But I tell you that the new technology with regard to the use of the solar power comes that if you use a small chip on the top of the house, that small chip will be able to absorb the sunlight and it will be able to provide sufficient the gas and sufficient heat, whatever is required to prepare the food and also to get the lighting in the house. So I have to say here that I am not traditional minded. I am not bounded with the old ideas. I am not against the modern technology, but the way that we are using, we should think about this so that we should be able to have sustainable development, including incorporating the environmental sustainability and species and ecosystems. We are losing many types of species, and ecosystem imbalance is there. To maintain the balance in this ecosystem, our common future Brundtland Commission report says about the sustainable development. Urban challenge. We have got the concept of what is called as this smart cities. How smart our cities are. This question is open for challenge, and we can ask plenty of questions. Are you going to have this migrated people in this smart city? Are you going to operate everything with the help of this electronic media? How you are going to use it? What about the bad waves that has been created by this electronic media? How you are going to use these smart cities? No doubt, I have given nearly 8 to 10 lectures about the smart cities in most of the academic colleges. But the way that we are going to follow, how you are going to use the urban challenge, the migration, the interrelationship between the urban areas and also the rural areas. So we know that they cannot live apart. They should have the connection. That we have to plan such a system. There should be a cooperation between the urban and also the rural integration. This is what I call it as the sustainable development along with the sustainable environment. And the energy, just I gave the example. Conflict and the environment. Environmental conflicts are very common in underdeveloped countries. We know this because of this human beings, most of the animals have been extinguished. And we know the examples also during the COVID-19, when there was a lockdown all over the world. Most of the animals, they came on the road. That means it is their world. We have to live with the people. Live and let live. You should also live. This generation should also live, and the future generation should also live. You cannot eat everything today itself. You cannot utilize everything today itself. We have to plan. The resources available are plenty. we are unable to extract. Only 8 to 10% of the resources we have extracted. Either it is mineral resources or gas resources or whatever resources we have got inside the earth. We have to make the research in this regard to make use of the finding out of the new sources of energy. So conflict and environmental degradation is another question that has been meted out by this our common future report. World Organization, I told you, they take very good initiative in maintaining the environmental balance. In 1972, United Nations Conference on Human Development was held at Stockholm. It's a very good step towards maintaining the environmental sustainability and sustainable development. Again, in 1975, UNESCO sponsored conference in Belgrade, again with regard to this sustainability. We know this World Trade Organization. Again, this World Trade Organization, we are discussing about the agreement on agriculture. We are discussing about this environmental impact in the World Trade Organization. Because of this COVID-19, this World Trade Organization, WTO, has gone to the background. We have got a lot of questions to ask about these things. Is it because of this globalization we are facing this problem? No. My point of view is that these problems which we are facing are only temporary. We face plenty of problems. During Nazi period, we faced the problems. During this floods, we faced the problems. And during the World War, we faced the problems. And during this volcanic eruption, we faced the problem. Just like this pandemic, COVID-19 is also one of the short-term problems, which is going to be solved very shortly. So likewise, there will be problems. Problem here are the challenges. So we have to meet these challenges. We have to maintain the balance. And the various dates I give with regard to this initiation of the World Organization. Another is the 1987 initiation by this UNO, that is with regard to this Brundtland Commission report. So Brundtland Commission, Brundtland was the Prime Minister of Norway and the Chairman of the World Commission on Environment and Development. He gave this report on the sustainable development. Again in 1994, the report on education for sustainability. Please go through 1994, the report, the education for sustainability. So I said that sustainability is a very, very broad concept. In 2002, United Nations Commission on Sustainable Development held in Johannesburg Summit. 2005 to 2014, United Nations Decade for Education for Sustainable Development was taken into consideration. So, what is sustainable development? People often say that sustainable development is only with regard to the environment. No, it is with regard to the 4 dimensions of sustainability. First dimension is, okay, the environmental dimension of sustainability. The second dimension is the economic sustainability. What is economic sustainability? Live and let live. Proper distribution, equal distribution. Nobody should suffer. Nobody should die without food. Everybody should have food and shelter. That's what we call it as this the economic sustainability. Social sustainability. We have to retain our culture. We have to retain our the ancestors' background. We have to retain our food culture, behaviors, attitudes. That we cannot spoil the culture of a particular country and build a new world of modernization by spoiling the social culture. Sustainability means maintaining what is called as this social, say, sustainability, another dimension. So basically, when we speak all these factors, we should take into consideration another one, the political sustainability. How far the government will long for a long period. How far the government will be towards the people. Why I'm telling this political sustainability is that one of my students, they produced a PhD and he got PhD for that also under Mysore University. That PhD is with regard to the public and private health expenditure. So for the thesis all over the world and India said that the private health expenditure is very high compared to the public health expenditure. But we should know that during this COVID-19, the private health expenditure has come down. Why I'm telling this point here is that it is mainly because people did not go to the hospitals and nursing homes unnecessarily whenever they have got a small disease. Only for the large, the health problem they used to go. So private health expenditure has come down, whereas this public or social or government public health expenditure has increased. Maintenance of the people under the quarantine, and even the maintenance of the police department, which also comes for the maintenance of the health of the people, and to lock down and to see that nobody should come down, and also the various measures taken by the government towards this the public expenditure shows that recently the expenditure towards health has increased. So sustainable development includes what we call it as this HDI, Human Development Index. One is economic development, other is the education development, the next is the health development. So the four pillars of sustainable development are environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, social sustainability, and political sustainability. I don't know how much time I have, plenty of things to say and share with you. But one important point, which I am going to discuss here with regard to the Sustainable Development Goals published by United Nations. Please listen carefully. 17 Sustainable Development Goals. In this sense, I said that the sustainable development has got a broader meaning than the only environmental sustainability. What are these sustainable development goals of the United Nations? There are 17 sustainable development goals. The first one is no poverty. You can ask me how it is related to the sustainable development. If human beings are not happy, if human beings are dying without food and lack of nutrition, and because of these various diseases, poverty, the main cause for the various diseases is the poverty. So in that sense, the first principle of this sustainable development is eradicate poverty. Eradicate poverty. How to eradicate poverty? There are plenty of measures one can do that. That is one thing. The second is zero hunger. Whatever progress that we make, whatever income that we earn, that we should see that nobody dies with hunger. You should be able to get the food, whatever is required for you. It's not only within the country, but across the globe. Wherever there is a problem, the people are going to respond. People say that China is the country which has spoiled the entire economy. People used to say that we hate China, but please understand that in these days, if you want to go progress slowly and also in a sustainable way, you have to have the good relationship with China. Again, the statement which you can debate with me, because I have been to China for nearly 2 times to study the economic development in China. And I asked them why China's name is so bad in most of the countries like India. Why do you send such substandard items to India? The person in China has told me, we are not sending. We use only high standard commodities. They use only very good vehicles, 4-wheelers and 2-wheelers or whatever is there. They don't use 2-wheelers, they use only bicycles. 2-wheelers they don't use. They don't waste money for the purchase of the petrol. That is the sustainability that they use. In Mysore, we have got one sustainable system of this, what is called as the sustainable traffic, sustainable transportation. We use the Chin bicycle, where it is environmental friendly. So plenty of things are there with regard to what is called as the sustainable development. So first one is no poverty, second is no hunger, the third one is good health and well-being. So as I said, this HDI constitutes the good health. Mother's health, the kids' health, the children's health, the aged people health, and the well-being of the individuals, how social security is given, that should be maintained. That's what we call it as the environmental sustainability and sustainable development, good health and well-being. Fourth is the quality education. You may contradict here, the quality education. So people used to say that the private institutions are exploiting and the governments are not working well. I am the supporter of John Maynard Keynes, where he says that the role of the government is very, very important. Take this example, what we are having webinar at present. How many private colleges are able to organize such a webinar, such a progress outlook? So what I mean to say here is this quality education should be provided by this, what is called as this, the public sector, by this government. So likewise, the quality education for all, awareness. Education here means the awareness for all is very important. The fourth point of this sustainable development goal. The fifth one is very, very important, which we call it as the gender equality. My dear friends, please remember, sustainable development includes all these aspects, not merely the environmental sustainability. First, I said no poverty. Second is zero hunger. Third is good health and well-being. Fourth is quality education. Fifth is gender equality. Almost 50%, nearly 50% of the population in the world are both men and women. So in China, usually what the people do in men do in India, the same thing is done in China, just like Kerala. This is say matriarchic family, not patriarchic family. So in that way, the gender equality. You find most of the women working in different fields, which we think that it's very impossible to work for women in India. Very hard work they do, starting from this smithy work to this driving and also to the road work, everything they do. So gender equality. If you want to get the maximum utilization of the human resource, you have to use the human resources, both men and women. You have to maintain the gender equality. The sixth one is clean water and sanitation. The health mainly depends upon the clean water and the sanitation facilities. Drinking water is the most important thing. Always we say that this RO water is very good. You know that one of the research says that next year the entire India, they are going to ban this RO water because this people say that has got minerals. Basically, the tap water is very good compared to this RO water because RO water removes most of the required minerals also. And to generate, say, 20 liters of RO water, you have to spend more than 60 to 70 liters as a waste. So in that way, the clean water to everybody and good sanitation. The sixth point or agenda. Seventh is affordable and clean energy, sustainable energy, solar energy. I told you how it can be used. That should be at an affordable rate. You see, think that why this solar panels are very costly. You have to install it at the rate of 30 to 40,000. Actually, it is less than 10 to 15,000. You have to pay a lot of royalty to the people, and the profit is very high. So, in case of this availability of this energy, clean and affordable energy to everybody. Eighth one is decent work and economic growth. What is a decent work? Where men and women can work without affecting their decency, without affecting their what is called as this pride and prejudice. So the decent work for everybody and economic growth is the 8th point. The 9th point is industry. I said about this, the manufacturing industry, innovation. What type of innovation, intermediate technology and infrastructure. What type of infrastructure we should have. It includes 9th point, industry, innovation and infrastructure as far as the sustainable development goals are concerned. Number 10 goal is the reduced inequalities. Inequality or poverty anywhere is a threat everywhere. So first of all, we should see that how we can reduce the inequalities. Yesterday, Suresh Abdikar was telling about Shumacher's book, Small is Beautiful. There you will find a very good example given by Shumacher. What Shumacher says is that don't try to give a fried fish to a person. If you give a fried fish to a person, he becomes lazy. Teach him how to catch the fish. Teach him how to fry the fish. Teach him how to use the fish. This is the way that you have to give the skill. So that's what we say about what is called as this sustainable development and how to reduce the inequalities and how we can have this distribution. Distribution here means does not mean that you should tax the rich people and allocate the money to the other poor people. You cannot give as a boon or a gift to the poor people. So inequalities, whatever is there, as far as possible, we have to reduce. The 11th is sustainable cities and communities. I was telling you about the smart cities. What is the ideal city? So during the period of Plato and Aristotle, they used to say there was a certain number of people who can stay in one area. If the population increases than that area, they have to be sent to the other, created a new area. That's what they call it as this the city states. But when we speak about this sustainable cities, we have to think about the sustainable cities. Take for example, this COVID-19, this problem is there only in the city areas, but not in the rural areas. They are very clean and they automatically maintain the social distancing here. So in that sense, sustainable cities and sustainable communities. 11th point. The 12th is responsible consumption and production. So the nature can fulfill the necessity of the human beings, but not the greed of the human beings. That's what Mahatma Gandhi said. Overconsumption should be avoided, and responsive consumption should be there. Production should be there. Whatever is required, that should be produced. So whatever is produced, that should be marketed. That is responsive consumption and production. My dear friends, please note that these points are not generated by me. It is generated by the United Nations as the Sustainable Development Goals. The 13th point is the climate action. We say always that there is the generation of the poisonous gases. The hot air is increasing, and the climatic changes are going on, and the greenhouse effects are negatively affecting us. So climate action, what action can we take to reduce the gases on this earth, and how happily we can live? 14th is life below water. As human beings are very important, the life below the water, the ocean, is also very important. The fish population is a very important thing which will influence the entire environment. We don't know the importance of this, what is called as this oceanic treasure. Oceanic treasure has to be, say, unearthed. We should see that how this balance can be maintained. That's what we call as the life below water. So likewise, the 15th is life on land. What should be the life on land? How happy one should be. 16th is the peace, justice, and strong institutions. The institutional development is very important. And last one is the 17th one is the partnership for the development of these goals. How international partner can be done. What is this partnership? My dear friends, will you please tell me, how do you win an enemy? So how do you win an enemy? Are you going to fight with him? My principle is that just have friendship with the enemy. That is the way of winning the enemy. Why I am telling here is that, why do you have clash with China? Because they are the future two countries, India and China, they can shake the entire world. Because China is very good in hardware, India is very good in software. If you have happy blending of the hardware and software, we can root out the Dell, we can root out the world companies, we can root out the entire world. So better to have a very good relationship with China. People used to say ban Chinese products. No, if you ban Chinese products, most of the industry is depending upon for their raw material from China. And under the global organization, World Trade Organization, you cannot ban any country that is there. So these are the sustainable development goals through which we will be able to maintain sustainable development and also what we call it as the sustainable environment. Madam, how much time I have? 10 more minutes? 10 more minutes? Okay. So what should be the solution for all these problems? How we can do away with this? What is the role of
10 minutes, sir.
Madam?
10 minutes. 10 minutes
Okay.
you have got.
Yeah, yes, madam. So the role of the individuals is very, very important. One should have awareness. They should see that the earth belongs to us. We have to create.
What happened?
Here again. Not listening.
Sir?
You are not audible?
We are to the development.
Yes.
We should be able to see that we contribute our might for the global equilibrium, for the sustainability. We have to take the role of the organizations. NGOs play a very important role. NGOs can have the sustainable development and sustainable growth. Corporate world. We know that the corporate world has to reserve 2% of their income for the purpose of what is called as the corporate social responsibility. Their responsibility is more. They have to contribute towards this sustainable development. And next is the role of the government. The government can be a supervisor. In case of the pandemic like this, it is the government. Most of the patients, they say, they have been well treated in the government hospital is very, very important. They said that I'm a staunch supporter of John Maynard Keynes, where he says that the economic development, generation of income is possible through what is called the C plus I plus G. See, these are the aspects that we take into consideration as far as the role of the government is concerned. So that's what I said in this background. When we speak about this role of the government, we have to say that the political sustainability is also very important. Development is unfolding human potential for meaningful participation in the economic, social, political, and cultural process and institutions so that people can improve their conditions. So, social development, environmental development, economic development, they go together. The fourth pillar is the cultural development. Cultural diversity is as necessary for humankind as biodiversity is for nature. Sustainable development cannot be understood simply in terms of economic growth, but also as a means to achieve more satisfactorily intellectual, emotional, moral, and spiritual existence. So, sustainable development is improvement of lifestyles and well-being and preserving natural resources and ecosystem. That's what the balance we have to maintain. So, clean water and air, fertile soil and good food, a livelihood and a healthy economy on optimum population size. I don't know what will be the optimum population size because I was telling you the carrying capacity of this earth will be up to 900 crore population. At present, it is 770 crore population. So the optimum population size, halting the global warming and the safety from all diseases, social control and a sense of community work, rest and celebration, opportunities to learn should also be there. So environmental protection includes ecosystem integrity, biological diversity, and managed population size. So in this background, we say that social development means improved income, distribution of income, gender equity, investing in basic health and education, emphasizing the participation of the beneficiaries. Cultural diversity and sensitivity to the cultural factors, recognition of value, conducive to development are very important aspects. So finally, 3 to 4 minutes, the principles of sustainable society are care for the community's life, improve the quality of human life, conserve the earth's vitality and diversity, minimize the depletion of non-renewable resources, keep within the earth's carrying capacity, change attitude and practices, enable communities to care for their own environments, provide national framework for integration of development and conservation. So sustainable principles are reduce dependence upon fossil fuel, underground metal and minerals, reduce dependence upon synthetic chemicals and other unnatural substances, reduce encroachment upon upon nature, meet human needs fairly and efficiently. So we need to spread social awareness. Action must be taken against the backdrop of serious inequalities. Environment mistakes of the past need not be repeated, as past patterns of degradation are not inevitable. So in this background, I don't know how far I am able to instigate ideas into you and generate questions from you. So with these words, I am going to end my discussion today with regard to this sustainable development with particular reference to environmental sustainability. I am very much thankful to this organizers, the principal, Chalapati, and also the moderator, Madam, and also to the participants. If you have got any questions, I'm very happy to discuss with you. I may not be able to answer, but I'll be able to discuss with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, you have given a very comprehensive insights. You have shared your views on various facets of sustainable environment, which was really very, very outstanding. There are many appreciations that the participants have posted in the chat box, which we'll be taking up at the end of the session. Thank you so much. Without much delay, we will move on to the next speaker.